Welcome to hell. It's me, Satan. Well. Welcome back, besties. It's your mother. I'm here once again. We made it through what was arguably one of the hardest weeks of my life. Very tough. Yesterday I had a birthday, which is kind of fun. The internet has my birthday wrong, by the way. A few of you have come out and been like, we have the same birthday. The internet thinks I was born on like August 15th. That's not my birthday. It's April 28th. But anyway, you guys, before I hop into the episode, I need to promote these two shows, because if people don't come to these shows, then nobody's ever going to let me on a stage again. And then I'm going to have to quit comedy, and then I'm going to have to start prostitution. And that's somehow going to all be your fault. So I have Raleigh on June 17th, and I have Nashville on June 18th. Please come see me. Tickets are on my site at BrittanySchmitt.com, BrittanySchmitt.com for tickets. Okay, you guys, what a week. What a week. I'm so excited to be here with you. Happy Monday. The world is falling apart all around us, but we're going to act like it's not. We're going to kiki for an hour and hang out. I'm going to tell you guys about my birthday. It was very chill, very low key. Obviously, I was still very sad about Biggie, so I didn't do much. My sister flew in, and we went to this little crab shack in Stewart called Krabby's, and we just ate all of the crab that we could possibly eat with our bare hands. I eat crabs like a fucking savage. I have butter running down my fucking arms. I'm one of the ones that puts a bib on. I put a bib on because crab shrapnel is flying everywhere. Nobody is safe around me when I'm eating crab. It is my favorite food. And I don't know what happened to crab during the pandemic, where it all of a sudden is like $1 bazillion. Do you guys remember when crab used to be like kind of expensive at a steakhouse, but it wasn't $1 bazillion? It wasn't every US dollar you've ever made in your entire life. This place, Krabby in Stewart, they do crab for two for $100. The amount of crab that you get, it would be like, I'm not joking, $1,000 at a steakhouse. It is unbelievable. If you guys live in Florida and you're anywhere near Stewart, it's like this little sleepy little fishing village, and the crab is amazing. So we went there, did that. I went with Max and my sister, and then my friend Paige, who lives here, and my friend Eva, who I've made living here. So we just had like a nice little very chill dinner. Like I went in sweatpants. And then the next day, okay, so now my birthday was 2 days ago. So the next day we went fishing. Yesterday we went fishing. It was so fun. We had a perfect day. The water was so calm. Did we have some Happy Caps mushrooms? Yes, we did. And did I find out my sister's way cooler than I thought she is? Yes, I did. Because every time I was like, do you want this? Do you do this? She's like, yeah. She's like, I'm a scientist. She's like, I work in a lab. She's like, I have friends who make like, you know, so obviously we're all out here eating psilocybin, mushroom caps, whatever. My sister works in a lab. She's like, I had a guy make the, whatever it's called. She told me the exact derivative of it. Psilocin, whatever, I don't know. You can find it on the internet or in my sister's brain, but not in mine. She's like, yeah, I have like tripped balls before. And I was like, who the fuck are you? I was like, are you the coolest person ever? And you're just like not letting me know? Because my sister's like, she's great, but she's so much different than me. She's very like rigid and by the book, and like our whole life was like very much a rule follower, and would like rat me out if I didn't follow the rules. So now that like, I don't know, I'm like forgetting that we're almost 40 and we're like grown to fuck, and we're not, you know, tattling on each other anymore. It was always her just tattling on me. I never had anything to tattle on her about because she was such a good student. But no, she's like, I've done that. I'm down. And then the girl on the boat had edibles, and they were 10 milligrams. So I was like, Heather, you cannot take that. You will lose it. And she's like, Brittany, I take this all the time. I have migraines and it helps with my migraines. And I'm just like, oh my God, if I took 10 milligrams, I would lose my mind. I was like, are you the fucking party rock sister? And I'm the nerd narc now? Maybe the tables have motherfucking turned. And that's what happens. That's what happens in life. It goes on long enough and everybody just changes their whole entire personality and they become different people. And then you're like, whoa, this version's way cooler. So we had the best day. We were on the water. We weren't really catching any fish. But I didn't care because like we were just on the water and it was so nice. And we were literally out there from 8:30 until 2. And then on our ride in, we're like, let's just troll on the way in. We had only caught like 3 bonita fish, and they're beautiful, but they're not good to eat because they're super bloody. And I'm like, I'm not going to like drain a fish. You know, that's crazy. If you're going to eat a fish, you should be able to just like fillet it. And listen, you guys probably don't know this about me. Well, maybe you do. I'm a little bit outdoorsy. Like I can fillet a fish. I know my way around a fillet knife. All right. But I don't know much about ocean fishing or deep sea fishing at all. But they were teaching me about bonita fish, and they said that they're really tough and they're also very bloody. So you have to like drain them. And even when you do drain them, they're not great. So they're beautiful and they were like fun to catch, but nothing to write home about. But then on the way in, we caught a big mahi, which was very exciting. My sister reeled it in. She lives in Wisconsin. So I was like, I'm going to go more often. Like I had so much fun. But yeah, she lives in Wisconsin. So I was like, let her land the big one. And then she did. And it was really nice and really fun. And we had a great time. And now I'm in my sweats and I'm hustling to give you guys a podcast before I leave for the weekend, because I'm going to Chicago and Toronto to do shows with Raina Greenberg, which are going to be so much fun. And by the time this is out, they will be over. But just know I'm on the road with her the following week too. Also, I'm doing the Boston and New York shows. I know there's some tickets still for the late show at the Gramercy Theater. So please come to that. And also, you guys, since you might be on YouTube already, and if you're not, you can click over there. If you could do me a big favor and go to my Don't Tell set. Don't Tell just released a set. I think I told you guys about this when I filmed it. I mean, it is a colossal bomb. Like, if I wasn't a deadpan comic and you guys were able to see how much I was panicking during that set, I would have been sweating like Shaq at the foul line if I didn't know that we could fix it in edits. I was like, baby girl was in her bag. I was like, that set was supposed to be 12 minutes long. It was 8 minutes long because nobody laughed at anything. But if you guys could go watch it and give it a little love and push it up in the algorithm and share it if you can. Don't Tell is just an amazing platform. I want you guys to know about it anyway. They highlight all of the up and coming voices in comedy, and you will be able to find some of the best comedians you've never heard about on there. And they have a great YouTube, so go subscribe to that and watch my set, click it, like it, comment on it, because we want to like push it up in the algorithm, because they do put out so many sets that it can get a little lost. But I would love for you guys to see it and comment and let me know what you think of it. And then just know behind the scenes, Mama bombed. Okay. They did fix it. Here's the thing. You guys, movie magic, it can make it look good when it wasn't good. Like, I've seen people bomb IRL, like hosting Saturday Night Live, and then once it comes out on Saturday Night Live site, it's all like laughing and it sounds like they crushed, and I'm like, that's very different than the experience we all had in the room. So it's movie magic, and for me, thank God for that, because a lot of times Mama will sit up there and eat a dick. And I just have to, no. Like, this is what I was born for, And then people are like in my here's the thing. Here's the problem with having a Gen Z boyfriend. My boyfriend's also in the comments, reading the comments. I don't really care about the comments. I saw a few. I caught a few strays. I always do. People are always going to call me a whore. They're like, she's ran through. Some guy's like, I can smell her UTI from here. And I was like, can you? It wasn't supposed to go through the screen, but that's why I was wearing a short dress, because I needed to air it out. Chad. No, I always catch strays, but I woke up and Max was like, people are pretty mean to you on the internet. And I'm like, yeah, welcome to hell, dude. Like, welcome to my whole entire existence. Anyway, I'm a little fuzzy today. But I'm here. Okay, so you guys wigged out at me last week. Rightfully so, because you guys, when I do this podcast, I didn't know I had ADHD until I started doing solo podcasting. And then I'm like, I need a doctor. But I get on like tangents and rants, and then I forget like my original thought. And I can't tell you how many scathing DMs I got. No, I'm just kidding. They weren't scathing. They're all very nice. You guys are so nice. But so many of you are like, you were supposed to tell us what we're doing for skincare that you're doing. And then you just went on a rant about how topical collagen is a hoax. And then you told us not to use Medicube. And then you fell off the deep end. Okay, I'm going to tell you what I'm using. And I'm also going to tell you I'm experimenting a lot right now. So I'm finding things that work and things that don't work. And here's what you guys are seeing on my skin when I podcast that you need. And you're going to be so happy to hear this. It is a cheapy product that I am loving. Okay. It's called L'Oreal. Hang on, wait, I wrote it down. L'Oreal Lumi Glotion. L'Oreal Lumi Glotion. It is an illuminating lotion. That's it. I'm not wearing makeup. This is just a glotion. And we love that name, L'Oreal Glotion. Don't use the Medicube. I've tried it. And here's the thing. I was so happy I had it yesterday because I didn't have any aloe in the house. And Mama got sunburned. Like I really was applying SPF to my neck and face because that's the money maker. And I forgot about like 40% of the rest of my body. Like my upper thighs look like ahi tuna. They look like bonita fish cut open. Like I'm like, are they going to start bleeding or blistering or what's going to go on? Because I was in the hot Florida sun for like 8 hours. That's not the right math, but you know what I mean. And I was freaking out. And then I put the Medicube all over my body and I woke up and it wasn't that bad this morning. So it might not be good for, skincare, but it did the trick for hydrating a burnt bitch after the fucking boat, Okay, so no Medicube, skip it. I tried it. We don't like it. We don't need it. Maybe that's just me personally. It made me break out. It felt sticky. It didn't feel like, you want your skincare to feel like nothing. Like it's doing something, but also that like nothing is there. I felt like I had a plastic bag over my head. And while that makes me come, I don't need that for skincare. That's not what I need for skincare. Okay, so here's what else that I found that I am loving and I'm freaking out about, and it's cheap and it's been around forever, for a bazillion years. It's Korean skincare, but it's called Medeka cream, Madeca cream, Medeka cream. It's like 33 bottles for a tube. I bought like 4 tubes because I tried one. I saw I got into some corner of the internet where everyone's like, I wish I knew about this years ago. It's reverse aging. It makes your skin glow. It's blah, 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 blah. And I'm always so skeptical. I'm like, okay, it can't be that. It is that great. It is more than that great. It is unbelievable. I use it head to tits twice a day. And because it's so cheap, I don't feel bad about using so much of it. When you're using something like a SkinCeuticals, which used to be, by the way, that used to be my bread and butter. I loved that shit. And it is so nice. It is top of the line, but it's so fucking expensive. You're like, can I afford to even cover every square inch of my face? Or should I just do the problem areas? Or is everything a problem area? Is my whole face a problem area? I need to call the beauty broker. But anyway, you feel no guilt about this, okay? So in terms of serums and vitamin C, you do want to use vitamin C once a day. You want to use that in the morning. That will help with skin rejuvenation and, something else that my sister told me about, but I forgot. Hang on, it might be on my text. I think she texted me about it. Da-na-na-na-na. I just convinced her to get an iPhone, which is a really big day because she's been a Samsung girly for a long time, which... Why, oh, why, Okay, my sister did say she said, tell people to take vitamin C because it boosts collagen formation. So simple, but absolutely the best thing you can do. And then she apologized for being slow because she had a migraine. But that was last week's episode. We're over it. We forgot, right? Our minds are like a black hole where things go out. They go in and they never come out. Okay, so vitamin C. Use a vitamin C once a day. Whatever serum you're liking, use that. I have a few. I didn't write them down because I don't think any of them are remarkable, but I'm like freaking the fuck out about the Medeka cream and the L'Oreal Glotion. And they're like cheap. And I love that because I usually am like I usually spend a lot of money on skincare, which is like great. But then you guys are like, yeah, I can't afford this because nobody can even afford fucking groceries. We can barely afford to keep the lights on. Life is a little bit tougher than it used to be. Times are tough. And here's the thing. This is what happens. This is what happens on the back end of, it's not even the back end. We're 6 years out of it. But COVID, when they printed all that fake money, they're like, here, we're just going to put $1 trillion more dollars into the economy. It's like, yeah, what happens on the back end? The dollar becomes watered down because we all got stimulus checks and money wasn't real for a minute. And now everything is inflated like a fucking balloon. and nobody can afford groceries. So I'm happy to give you guys some skincare that you might be able to afford and use and love and just feel a little bit better about yourself, because that's all that matters, is that you feel a little bit better every single day. And here's something I saw online this morning, and it was like a cartoon. Maybe it was AI. It was like a little Muppet being like, giving your best each day is different. And that really resonated with me, because your best yesterday could be writing a chapter of your book. It could be taking yourself on a walk. It could be going to Pilates. It could be picking up the kids. It could be dropping off the kids. It could be going to a sporting event. It could be whatever. Like, you could have a full day. And then the next day, when you're depleted and you're just a shell of yourself and you're just like a tiny little husk, which is what I've been feeling like a lot lately. And my best is getting out of bed and remembering to take my Lexapro and not chipping my tooth on a loaded fucking gun. That's the same person doing their best. All right? Granted, I don't have kids. I'm never going to have a day where I drop kids off. And, well, maybe I will, but not anytime soon, because I don't have them. I just have an IUD that apparently a man can smell through the internet. Oh, no, that was a UTI. Whatever. Tomato, potato. Same thing. Anyway. Life is good and God's got it. You know what I mean, besties? Life is good and God's got it. We're all losing our fucking minds here. We just have to hang on for dear life and try and enjoy before it's over. And the good news is, when it's over, I get to go see my homies, aka Biggie Smalls. I miss him so much. I will say they sent his ashes back. I have a little bit of an issue with the canister I got his ashes back in. I'll be honest. It looks like a Stanley Cup. It looks like a hard koozie White Claw holder. And I did get a spreading tube, but like, I just thought, it would be a little nicer. It's not great. And then they gave me the little clay paw print. And, it makes me so sad. But they gave me the little clay paw print. And his nails are so deep in it, because he was due for a manicure. I had him on the books for a mani-pedi, and he didn't make it. So I sent the picture to Chris, and Chris is like, that's a nice reminder that we never cut his fucking toenails, which I thought was funny. And then this little circle necklace I'm wearing around my neck, I got this gold, I got his nose print in a gold plated necklace, and that's really sweet and really nice, and also really sad. I was trying to wear it with I have my mom's engagement ring that I got made into a necklace too, and then I was wearing them together, and I was like, I don't want like my neck to be a cemetery, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want this spooky stuff around here. So now I'm just sticking to Biggie. Biggie has my full attention right now. Okay, I want to tell you guys something funny, because you're my best friends. I have no other friends. So I am now in this privileged position of dating somebody who is Gen Z, and I don't know if it's Gen Z or if it's just his friends, but I just want to tell you guys, just so you know, that guys are just like girls. Guys are just like girls. I have gotten close to one of Max's friends who I adore. He is wonderful. He's very sweet, and he's handsome, and well, I shouldn't say that. Nobody cares. Well, you guys care. I want you guys to care, because he's single and he's an eligible bachelor, okay? So if there's any hotties in New York that want to date this guy, let me know. But he's not going to be happy about that. I'm going to have to cut that. He's not going to want me pimping him out. Let me start fresh. Okay. He's really funny, and he's really great, and he has a really dark sense of humor like me. And so we get along great. And he's dating for the first time in a long time. And when I tell you we kiki like girls, he'll be like, how do I respond to this text? What do I say? What do I do? He's like, she posted a story. I saw it, but I'm not going to look at it from my main page. There's a man out there not looking at your shit from his main page and looking at it from a burner. I thought that was for the crazy girls. I thought that was reserved for us. I thought that was reserved for Cuckoo Nanner Ladytown. But the boys are doing it too. And here's what I mean. We need equality. Because if the boys are being girly, then the girls can be boy-y and make more money. You know what I mean? I'm like, if they are the psychoanalyzing text messages, it was like phone a friend. It was like, what are those things called? Back in the 70s when they used to have like party lines. It was like a fucking party line of all of his friends giving feedback on what to respond to a girl that he went on one date with. And then she responded and she gave him a blow off text and he's like, I don't know what to say. And we ran through every single possible response together. And when I tell you the joy it brought my heart to know that men spiral the way we spiral. The world is finding balance. The world is healing. Men are falling apart because they don't know what to text you. And it made me so happy and also vindicated. I felt vindicated because I'm like, how many times have we been dating the wrong person or gone on dates with the wrong person? And here's why I'm saying the wrong person, because the wrong person will make you act like this. The wrong person will make you call everyone in your contact list to see what their feedback is on what text you should send next. The wrong person will make you so insecure that you have to wrangle your friends and family into responding to something that should just be thumbs up. That's what the wrong person will do. The wrong person will make you spiral into next year. The wrong person will eat your whole year up, breadcrumbing you and giving you shitty little like morsels of hope. That's what the wrong person will do. And it does it to men and it does it to women. The wrong person will fuck your head up 9 ways towards the weekend. All right? And to see him going through this, I was like, oh my God. It's not just for the girls. Falling apart is for the boys too. 2027 is the year. Well, it's not 2027. Whatever fucking year it is. Who cares? It's all a simulation. Nothing matters. We're all going to die. But 2026 is the year of falling apart. And that is not just for the girlies. That's for everyone. We're all allowed to fall apart. I'm so glad we all have the support systems to call each other and fall apart to. You know what? And unfortunately, all of our support systems are becoming ChatGPT and or Claude. And I do think at some point our entire existence is just going to be like the Spider-Man meme of Claude and ChatGPT going like responding to each other's like we can't even process our own emotions. We can't even send text messages anymore without running it through the system. That's not good. We just found out about this shit like 9 months ago, and now we're also heavily reliant on it. We don't even know how to respond to text messages without running it through the system. That's not great. The AI monster, the AI demon is coming for us. It's going to eat us alive, but in the process, it will let us know how to respond to the fuck boy or fuck girl that's making our central nervous system a little shaky. Okay? Here's the other thing I'll say. When you go on a date and you drink, and if it doesn't go exactly the way you want it to, the next day is going to be really hard and destabilizing. And I hate that. It would be hard and destabilizing if you were sober. I've had dates go the way I thought they were wonderful, and then I don't hear from the person for weeks, and I want to fucking puke. And that's, I don't drink. I don't have the anxiety in the morning, but I want to fucking puke. And I felt so bad for him because he was going through the same thing where he was anxious, and I was like, even if his nervous system was calibrated right now, which it absolutely is not because he had 5 martinis last night, and at the big old age of in your 30s, at the big old age of in your 30s, late 20s, that's when it all starts to hurt. That's when the world starts to fall out from under you after a night of drinking. That invincibility that you once felt when you drank turns into, I am very, very, very invincible. My mortality is here. It's present. And a lot of it's in my mind. I am going to kill myself. That's what it turns into. A night of drinking, okay? It used to be fun, kiki. You wake up. Who cares? Nothing matters. Fuck you. Fuck that. Fuck this. I don't care if I fucked your man. I don't care if you did. And then you get old and you turn into a big age where it's not fun anymore. And we don't like that. We don't like that. But anyway, I just wanted to let you guys know that the guys are going through the same stuff the girls are going through. And also, I will say, I didn't love Max's advice to him because Max was like, I used to do this. I used to run this shit. Do you know who the fuck you're talking to? And I was like, okay, all right, easy killer. But it's true. It's true. Listen, we both have a past, and he doesn't judge me for mine, so I won't judge him for his. But I will say this is very funny and sweet, and not sweet, but funny. It really made me laugh. He told me the other day that when he was growing up, girls blogged about him in high school, like fucking Gossip Girl. Like he was so hot and wanted that he had a whole blog dedicated to him, and that really made me laugh. Hang on, I want to see if I can pull some of them up because he sent some to me and I was really, really laughing. Hang on a second. Our texts are just a lot of nudes and me sending him like BDSM bondage harnesses and pictures of me crying. So in case you're wondering what it's like to date me, that's pretty much it. Okay, well, I can't find them, but I remember what some of them said. One of them said, Max A is so hot, he's like the equator. The closer you get, the hotter he gets. Another one was like, I have a crush on Max A and I want to talk to him, but I don't know how. Like girls posting on a forum in high school because he was that hot. He was that hot and he's still gorgeous. Like obviously that's my motherfucking man, but... Okay, you guys, this story in the news this week really made me laugh, and I hope it makes you laugh too. And it just reminded me that all of us can be pettier, okay? There's this woman in Australia getting tried for the murder of 4 of her family members, her ex-husband's family members, because she invited them to dinner and she cooked death cap mushrooms in their beef stroganoff. And listen, death cap mushrooms are the deadliest mushrooms on the planet, and she invited her ex-husband, his parents, and his siblings under the guise of she had a medical emergency that she needed to share with the family that she hadn't shared with her kids yet, but she needed their advice on how to do so. So obviously, you know, her and her ex have a good co-parenting relationship. They're going to do their best to keep, you know, the kids in mind, front and center. And they show up and she cooks a beef stroganoff. Not a lunchtime food. That would have been my first ding, ding, ding. I would have been like, hey, I'm not in the mood for a stroganoff. That's going to put me into a fucking coma. It's going to put me into a food coma, not like a death coma like they did actually go into. So the only person that's, and by the way, she invited her ex-husband and he said, not available. Everyone else showed up and there was only one survivor. The only person that survived was her ex-sister-in-law. And her ex-sister-in-law told the court that she told the family that she had cancer and she needed to tell her kids that she had cancer. Basically, she's like, I found a lump on my elbow and it's cancer. Which, by the way, elbow cancer is not the most threatening cancer anyone's ever heard of. That's a pretty bad story. But then she gets tried on stand and she's like, I was reading the NPR article and it's like, here's important facts. She talks shit about her in-laws. Yeah. Everyone talks shit about their in-laws. In-laws are notoriously the worst people in the world, especially if you're the woman entering the relationship, because for whatever reason, boys to men, men to boys, whatever, they always have the weirdest fucking relationships with their mom. Like, always. Why is there always like sexual tension between moms and their sons? What the fuck is that? And why aren't we calling the cops? Because I can't tell you, I never had this relationship personally because my ex-stepmom was fucking tits. Like she was the coolest lady ever. And she, like a normal mother, didn't want to fuck her son. But so many of my friends are in relationships with mama's boys that have like weird fucking relationships with their mom, and they wouldn't date someone that their mom doesn't approve of, and their mom approves of no one, and they always feel like they're in competition for the son's attention whenever they're around their mom. Like, this mother-son relationship needs to be studied, and also I think some of these moms need to go to jail, if I'm being honest. So I think her poisoning this lady with some mushroom caps was the nicest thing she could have done, because like she should be tied to a basement freezer. Like the way mothers interact with their sons, it's criminal, it's weird. It's like, yeah, he sucked on your titty, but like, get over it. It was a long time ago. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I dated a few mama's boys and I can't with the mama's boys. Like first of all, they're the worst. They're always the cheaters. The mama's boys are always cheating because and I used to have a joke about this. It's like build a bitch. Like they're going around trying to build their mom. They're like, this one wears paisley, you know, this one goes to church on Sunday and this one's going to fuck my dad. That's me. You know, that was the joke. Anyway, but they are the worst people. They're the biggest cheaters and they're fucking weird. There was this guy that I dated in college, and I say dated loosely because like we were not boyfriend and girlfriend, but we were like seeing each other and we liked each other. He was a basketball player, so like whatever. He was busy fucking literally everyone, including all of my friends. And then he got like mad at me because I was fucking his teammates, and I'm like, grow up. You know, I thought that's like what we were doing. Yeah, he had issues, but so did I. That was like peak alcoholism Brit. Like I was a lunatic. But basically I ran into him and so basically I invited him to this basketball game, and it was obviously he was not playing. It was the Lakers were playing the Bucks, and I invited him to this basketball game, and he's like, I can't go. I have to meet with like my agent, because it was the year he was going to get drafted and go play in the NBA. And I was like, okay, cool, whatever. I go to will call and tell me why I'm in will call, and I'm like, that's fucking blank. I'm not going to say his name, but I was like, that's him. And I was like, hey. And he turns around, and his mom turns around, and she's like, and who the fuck is this? She didn't say that, but she meant it. You know what I mean? I could see her her eyes were fucking cutting me in half. And she's like, and who do you think you are talking to my son? And I was like, y'all shit is fucking weird. I didn't say, she was just so mean. She was so not nice to me. And like, she didn't have any reason to be nice to me or not nice to me, but like, why would you just be nasty just to be nasty? And then I remember he got this tattoo and it said dynamic duo. And I was like, what's that? And he's like, that's me and my mom. And I was like, that's me. That's what me and Jessica call ourselves when we have a threesome. Like, that's fucking weird. That's crazy. Get that tattoo off your fucking arm. Or marry her. Marry your mom. Because obviously there's not room in this relationship for another woman. Anyway, that obviously didn't work. But yeah, I just think this woman who just was like, I'm going to kill his family. And she tried to kill him too. To be fair, I think I would have rescheduled lunch until he came. You know, I think the main person, the main target was missed there. But I really appreciate what she did here. Do you know how much hate you have to have in your heart to cook a beef stroganoff at 11 a.m. in the fucking hell pit of Australia? A hot dish in Australia on any day before noon. She woke up, she toiled, she sweat. She foraged for those mushrooms. You can't go to the store and buy death caps. She took up mushrooming. And I know that's not the word, but who fucking cares? You guys know what I'm talking about. She was like, I'm going to get a fucking, what's it called? Not a microscope, a magnifying glass. She's like, I'm going to get a magnifying glass. I'm going to get a pair of gloves. I'm going to get a book of all the deadliest mushrooms in the world. I'm going to figure out which climate and ecosystem they grow in. I'm going to hike in that climate and ecosystem until I find enough of these fuckers to kill a family. And then I'm going to go home. I'm going to have wiped the flop sweat on my forehead like Shaq at the foul line. I'm going to take a shower. When I get out of that shower, I'm going to fire up the crock pot, and then I'm going to put the finest roast in that crock pot, and I'm going to make the most divine gravy that people, by the way, you do have to make this dish good, because if you make it poorly, people won't eat it and they won't want it. She said, I'm going to make the most divine beef stroganoff you've ever had. It's so divine that you have to eat it before noon in the middle of swamp heat dick fuck Australia while I tell you I have elbow cancer. And here's the other thing we're not thinking about, because I do think we need to give this lady credit, and I really like to see women in men's fields, and a serial killer is a woman in a man's field. And so I want to give her kudos, okay? Because she also had to make another beef stroganoff for herself. And she couldn't confuse the two, because then she would have died. And obviously we don't want that, because she's an evil genius and a mastermind. So she made 2 beef stroganoffs, and she kept them straight in her fridge. And she invited her family over, and she said, you know, this loose skin on my elbow here that you guys have been making fun of for all those years? Well, just so you know, it's cancer and I'm dying. And I was just wondering if you could help me tell my children that I'm dying of elbow cancer, because you guys made fun of my loose elbow skin for years and now I'm dying because of it. Doesn't that feel horrible? So while they're eating their fucking slop, they feel a pit in their stomach, and they're like, we did make fun of that loose elbow skin and we are sorry. And that's, you know, we shouldn't have done that. It was just a hard time in our family. and your elbow skin is atrocious. Unlike this beef stroganoff, which, by the way, is delicious. And she says, thank you for finally appreciating me. You know, I foraged those mushrooms myself in the forest. That's why it's so fresh. And they said, wow, we really underestimated you, and we don't know why our son divorced you, and we are so sorry. And she said, good, while she ate her unpoisoned version of the beef stroganoff. And then just to look people in the eyes and give them a hug and say, goodbye, I love you. I'm dying of cancer, so you're never going to see me again. And they're like, well, that's a little extreme. We'll probably see you again. It's elbow cancer. I don't think it could possibly be that aggressive, but we understand the sentiment and, you know, take care. And she just, just the evilest laugh. Just, I'm never going to see you again. That was a promise. And here's the thing, you guys, women in men's field. What a beautiful story. And I think that's a beautiful story. And a lot of people are saying she got a life sentence and that's not enough time. And I'm like, that's too much time, because I think we really are undermining the accomplishments here. All right. Well, I don't know what just happened there. That was a tangent. I blacked out. Anyway. Okay, I sent a few things to Mike because I wanted to remember them, and that's how I remember things, by sending them to Mike. Okay, so there's PMDD girlies that listen to this, and I know that because on my last podcast, we used to talk about PMDD a lot. I used to get that. I think it was specifically more before I got my IUD in and I was on Lexapro. I would get like, whoo, like there was 4 days out of the month where it was an absolute miracle. I made it out of those days. If you get like super fucking suicidal or like I'm a loser and I should die and everything's stupid and there is no point, and then all of a sudden you start to bleed and you're like, okay, everything makes sense now. I want you guys to listen to this because I think it sounds like, according to the internet, this works. And if it does work, I need you guys to try it and report back. And if it doesn't, don't be a fucking snitch. You know, like that ex-sister-in-law who was like, she was pretending to have cancer. And then she fed us poison mushroom fucking beef stroganoff. Okay. For any of you who have PMDD symptoms, which are like really, really, really heightened PMS symptoms, like where you just want to fucking die during or before your period, then I need you to try Pepsid AC and Allegra together, because I saw this on Instagram Reels and I want to play this because I know it affects a lot of you, and if this works, I want to be some sort of a doctor. I am a healer. No, I just want you guys to be happy and free and not feel like you want to fucking die out of the month. Okay, listen away.
Is it for PMDD? I just felt a wave of joy come over my brain and body. Like somebody pressed a button. I think I took it like maybe 45 minutes ago. Took both of them maybe 45 minutes ago. I feel like hyper.
Hi, my name is Dr. Rubin. I'm a board-certified allergist, and I am so happy to hear that she is doing much better at this time. This is something that I'm seeing a lot on social media over the past couple of years, where women are reporting positive results for their PMDD symptoms when they take a combination of two antihistamine medications, Allegra, also known as fexofenadine, and Pepsid, which is known as famotidine. Even though famotidine is an antacid, it actually works as an antihistamine. I am an allergist who studies the abnormal immune system responses to foreign substances, and so I'm going to give you my perspective on how histamine may be related to PMDD and tell you about what we know, but also highlight the fact that there's a lot of issues related to women's health where there's just not enough research out there. We need to do more, and this is a call to action, because this significantly impacts a lot of women, as PMDD is a severe form of PMS. Likely due to a hypersensitivity to the hormonal fluctuations that occur during the menstrual cycle, with changes in estrogen and progesterone that are cyclically happening and can cause debilitating symptoms potentially. And right now, the standard of care does not involve antihistamines because there's no clinical trials on this to really understand whether this works. But there is some evidence to suggest that maybe it does work, because Estrogen and progesterone interact with cells of your immune system like mast cells, which contain histamine. That's the chemical that causes a lot of allergy symptoms, but histamine does a lot of other things besides itching, hives, and swelling. It can also regulate your mood, hunger. It can regulate your sleep. And so when you have these fluctuations in estrogen and progesterone, it can affect mast cell activation and the number of histamine receptors where this chemical can bind to and create different actions on the body. So when you take Allegra and Pepcid as different antihistamine classes, one that blocks the H1 receptor in Allegra and one that blocks H2 receptors in Pepcid, this may significantly improve symptoms for some women. Now, keep in mind that antihistamines can have potential side effects, so you should always talk with your doctor if you're going to be starting any new medications. But this is something that does need to be looked into more, and more awareness needs to be raised so we can have a better understanding of if this works and how well it works and how we can change clinical practice with this.
To all the motherfucking bitches who said to take Allegra and Pepcid AC, is it, for PMDD?
Okay, so I once I played that, I actually do remember on the old podcast talking about antihistamines for PMDD, but that was like a specific combination of antihistamines. So I want you guys to try it and get back to me and let me know how it works, if it works. I sent it to a bunch of my girlfriends who have PMDD, and this is like crazy how far behind times we are with women's studies. Like if men had a period and if they were in this much pain all of the time, this shit would have been cured 50 years ago. Like the fact that they're like, we have no research to support any of this. They're not even researching it because they don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck. And here's the thing. My sister's a scientist and I talk to her all the time about this. And she's like, it is such a misogynistic field still. It is male dominated. She's a female scientist working exceptionally well in her field, but she still gets brushed to the back and thrown to the side and not taken seriously because she's a woman. Women are so fucking smart. We can run circles around these fuckers, but they just won't even let us. They won't even let us do the studies in the labs. Like it's crazy how much further ahead we could be if any woman was in charge of any of this, but we're not. So we just have to sit there and get kicked around. And I just can't believe it's the year 2026, allegedly, you know. If you listened earlier in this podcast, I said it's 2027. Who cares? Allegedly, it's the year 2026 of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. So I saw this the other day, and I'm reading it to you guys now. So the luteal phase, occurring between ovulation and the start of a period, it's roughly 12 to 14 days, which is all of the days. It's 50% of the days of a month, driven by high progesterone, fluctuating estrogen, leading to PMS symptoms in many women. What we go through, and I don't know what the metric was. I just saw this on Instagram and it was a doctor, so I trusted him, but I shouldn't do that because I understand people can just put a lab coat on and like a pair of glasses. And I'm like, a doctor said this. So do your research, do the research that I didn't do. You know, I do my best to not spread misinformation, but every once in a while it seeps out of me. But it said for men to experience what women go through in the luteal phase each month, they would have to age 100 years for their body to understand the kind of drastic change that we go through. And that is motherfucking crazy. Most men don't age 100 years ever in their life. Like that, I mean, just the shit we go through as women, I just want to give you a high five, a round of applause. Pat yourself on the back. I mean, the fact that we have to... Also, did you guys see this? It was somebody with like a period cramp simulator on the street of New York City putting it on men and being like... And we just have to walk down the road and we're supposed to... And then they say, why aren't you smiling? And I'm like, oh, gee, Hank, I don't know why I'm not smiling. Maybe because it feels like there's an automatic weapon going off in my fucking uterus. Maybe it feels like I'm getting loaded, filled with caps from an AR-15 right now, Hank. That's why I'm not fucking smiling. The fact I'm on 2 feet and I'm not horizontal for the rest of my life is a miracle. People expect too much from us. Ugh. The rage, the fury. You guys, we're doing great. We're doing great, aren't we? We are doing great. I'm going to share one more thing with you that I thought to be incredibly healing. And it's a real thing. It's not an Instagram thing. So 1 second. Okay, so this other piece of advice that I wanted to talk about is how important it is to find friends who love themselves and love their lives. And listen, I'm not like the queen of I love myself. I'm not the queen of like I have an amazing life and everything is great. And it's not all rainbows and butterflies, okay? But on a base level, I do really like myself. I am confident in myself and in my abilities. And I have noticed in the past when I bring people into my life that don't really like themselves that much and they don't really like their lives that much, they're really challenging people to forge friendships with, and they will take and take and take and take from you until you don't like yourself and you don't like your life. And then all of a sudden you're a husk of the person that you were when you met them, but you can't get out because now you're reliant on their weird sort of succubus energy where it's like you guys become this. You just have to be careful for the people that don't like their lives, because if you're around them long enough, they will make you not like yours. And then they also secretly are like hating you or whatever you like about your life. And they give you like hater vibes and bad energy, and they fill you with enough bad energy that you start to not like your life. So you have to be very, very careful about the energy that you put in your life. It is so sacred. It is so fragile. And that's why they say you are the sum of who you surround yourself with. So if you surround yourself with people that hate your life, pretty soon you're going to hate your life. So just be very careful of the people that you're letting in your life, that they're not fucking haters, Okay, I want to talk to you guys about one more thing. I did this forgiveness ritual that was so powerful to me, and I want to share it with you guys in case you guys are going through anything, or if all of us surely have someone in our lives that we need to forgive, whether it's ourselves, our partners, our parents, our friends, our business partner, like whoever it is. This ritual really cleansed me. I was holding on to a lot of energy with a situation, and it's not one that I've talked about publicly, but I was holding on to a lot of energy, and I couldn't let it go, and I couldn't stop feeling bad about it. And I did this forgiveness ritual, and it shifted something in me towards this other person that it was very powerful. So I just want to share this with you. So what you need to do when you're doing this ritual is you close your eyes and you envision the person. Okay, so you envision the person that you're having conflict with, whether it is like an actual argument or if it's like a resentment you never told them about or whatever it is. Close your eyes, envision the person. Envision you're in the room with the person, and envision you're looking them in the eyes. And then when you have them locked in, you start to say, I'm angry at you for, and you just go and you say every single thing you're angry at them for. Like, I am angry at you for betraying my trust. I am angry at you for blah, blah, blah. I'm angry at you for this. I'm angry at you for that. I'm angry at how you went about it. I'm angry at how you took no accountability. I'm angry that you did, but whatever it is, whatever the situation is, you say, I'm angry until you've expended the tank and you can't think of another thing that you're angry at them for. And then you move on to, I'm sad that. I am sad that you didn't think I deserved better. I'm sad that you didn't think that, whatever it is. I'm sad that, I'm sad that, I'm sad that, I'm sad that, until the sad tank is empty. And this whole time, eyes are closed, you're acting like you're in the same room with them. It's like an energetic healing ritual, okay? And then you say, I'm accepting that. I'm accepting that we no longer have the relationship that we used to have. I'm accepting that this thing was a fundamental change and we're never going to be able to go back to who we used to be. I'm accepting that, blah, 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 blah. Okay? I'm in denial that. I'm in denial that somebody I love so much would do this to me. I'm in denial that I used to think you were the world to me. I'm in denial that da, 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 da. Okay? Until you empty out the denial tank. And then you say, I'm negotiating that. I think that if I do this, then you'll do that. If I do this, then you'll do that. Because you did this, then I did that. Because any sort of negotiations, any sort of back and forth you're having with them. And then the last one, if whatever, for whatever reason it didn't come out in the negotiating, I'm going back and forth about whether or not I love you or hate you. I'm going back and forth about whether you should be in my life or you should not have a part in my life, or you don't get a seat to the show anymore. I'm going back and forth about whether or not I can have people like you in my, like those kinds of things. And you empty it all out and you pour it all out until you have nothing left. And I'll be goddamned if you don't feel lighter and better and just more free after you do that. I've done this with a few people now. I did it one in a guided situation with my hypnotherapist, and then I've done a few more on my own. And here's something really crazy that will happen. In my experience, I've had the person I've done it about reach out to me. Like right after I do it, really shortly thereafter, like within a week. 3 times out of 3, that person's reached out to me. And so I think it's like an energetic shift and healing that's like felt on a vibrational plane. It's obviously not spoken in the flesh, and you guys don't have the direct conversation, but it's like a conversation that you can have on kind of a conscious level with their consciousness, and just free yourself of whatever is holding you back, whatever is imprisoning you, because resentments are miniature prisons within our body, and when we don't let go of them, they control us, they own us, they wreck us. So do that ritual if you're struggling with anyone in your life, and most of us are struggling, but just take the time, because it is a form of self-care to forgive people. Forgiveness is a form of self-care, and that's a bitch because it's also fucking work. And I don't like it. Okay, I am going to roll into bad advice. We're bringing it back. And you guys have been sending me stuff, which is great, because I need you guys to send in for this in order for us to have an interactive relationship. So please DM the Talkin Schmitt Instagram with your bad advice, and I will do my best to read yours. Okay, so this one. Hey, Britt, I've been a fan of yours for so long, and I love you so much. Thank you. Love you too. I need some bad advice. About 8 months ago, I started talking to this guy, and at first he seemed like everything I could want. Taller than me. I'm 5'9", sweet, not ugly, and we were on the same page about a lot of stuff. Oh, by the way, if somebody described me as not ugly, kill me. And we were on the same page about a lot of stuff like religion and finances. Well, then I got to know him. He's a really nice guy, but there are a few things I can't ignore. He's 34, which means he's 10 years older than me, but that isn't what bothers me. It's that he's 34 and living with his mother. Run for the fucking hills. His best friend is his ex-girlfriend, who still wants him, and he's insecure about the fact that I make more money than him when, in an ironic twist, he doesn't have a job. He's been training for a new career, but in the meantime turned down everything else he's been offered because it's beneath him or seems like a scam. Like he's too good to wait tables and stuff like that, even though it would only be temporary. The more we've been hanging out, the more disillusioned I've become with him. For example, the last time we hung out, he lectured me on how women are keeping themselves single and women objectify men based on their bank accounts. And they objectify us based on our bodies. So isn't fair, bitch? Okay, but everything he was saying was just broad generalizations that aren't even really true. I could go on, but we could fill an entire podcast episode on every single red flag this guy has. I was wondering how I can end this. We're just friends, but he's developing some feelings for me, even though I've made it very clear we will only ever be friends. I consider it a slow ghost, but that's just shitty. Any bad advice is welcome. Also wanted to say I love you, and it's inspiring how vulnerable you can be. You've been a constant mechanism for regulating my nervous system because you make me laugh and speak your truth without giving 2 fucks, and I love you for it. I love you so much. Thank you. This means the world to me, honestly. They ask me what I do and who I do it for, and it's you. It's you, and it's anyone who's writing in, anyone listening. I read all of your DMs. I know you guys have sent me so much love in this last week with Biggie. I honestly can't respond because then I reopen that grief wound, and I can't I'm comfortably numb right now. So just know I love you, and your support means the world to me. But I see it, I love it, I appreciate it. I can't respond to all of you. Okay, so this guy is a nightmare. Good news is you guys aren't actually dating, I don't think. You started talking to this guy. Yeah. So you're not actually dating him. So you don't need to break up with him. A 34-year-old that lives with his mom, that's a non-starter for me. Because like I was saying before, what are you doing with your mom? Why are you hanging out with your mom so much? It's fucking weird to live with your mom. And imagine having a kid and you're like, oh, fuck. The next 18 years of my life, I have to shelter and feed this little motherfucker. And then it becomes 34 years. 34 years, that's not a gamble I'm willing to take. Your 34-year-old son moves back in and is like, hey, where's the Captain Crunch? I got a boner. Clean my socks, my crunchy socks. Like, I can't. What? No. Get a job. And that's the other thing. Get a job. Nothing is beneath any of us. And I need to say that. And I need to say that with all my heart and my whole fucking chest. I will wait tables again. And it's not to say I'm better than this guy who's going to school to figure out what his career is. But all of us need to be humbled and know that nothing is beneath any of us. Are we trained and qualified to do more than that? Maybe. Yeah. But at the end of the day, money's money. And you need to get to work. You can't be mad that I make more money than you when you don't do anything except for judge people that work in jobs that you deem beneath you. But is being a contributing member of society beneath you? No, being a non-contributing zero is your whole fucking problem here. He's just jealous. He's jealous and he's angry. And I'm sure he's not jealous of servers. He's jealous and he's angry. And it is true that women objectify bank accounts. That's like, we've been objectified by our bodies for years and years and years. But like, here's the thing. Money comes and goes. It's never actually the sense of safety that we think it is. But in our minds, it would be nice to not have to work quite so hard. It would be nice to have a man that can provide for you. It would be nice to do some of those things. And in the same right, like, yes, women are objectified by men, but like, also like, I think it's a free country and we're all allowed to do what we want and judge people and date people based on whatever we want. And it's a shame that our bodies get so objectified by society at large. It's not just men, it's everyone. It's women critique other women worse than men do. Men don't even know what the fuck's going on. If I came home today with red hair down to my fucking kneecaps, Max wouldn't notice. He would be like, oh, you got a tan or something? Like, he wouldn't even notice. Guys don't actually notice. They know what they like and they're like, gazungas. Like, but... well, and then we're not allowed to want the safety of you. Also, it's not always about the money, by the way. It's mostly, for me, it's not about the money. It's about your ambition and how hard of a worker you are and how dedicated you are to making a fucking difference. If you're sitting on your mom's couch in the basement playing Xbox, just getting mad at the matriarchy because we want somebody who does a little something with their life, why don't you get off your ass and go throw papers? Why don't you get off your ass and go fucking work at a diner? And here's the other thing that's crazy is he deems those jobs beneath him. But if he did any of those jobs, he would feel better about himself, because any of us doing anything makes us feel better than sitting on our ass and doing nothing. And I can say that confidently because I've sat on my ass and done nothing and it feels fucking horrible. That's why they say idle hands are the devil's workshop. So I think you need to tell him that. You say idle hands are the devil's workshop. Your ex is in love with you. Your mom might be too. You need to get out of the fucking basement. Stop playing Xbox. And also, we're not dating. That's all you need to do. You need to be like, hey, I just want to be very clear that we're not dating. And this is never going to turn into anything. I think we're different on some fundamental levels. That's all you got to say. Just say fundamentally, I think we're going in different directions. Hit them with it. We're going in different directions, because you know what? You fucking are. You're fucking going in different directions. All right, besties. I love you so much. I hope you have a great week. Happy Monday. I will see you next week. I'm going to do a really quick artist way. Oh, and one more thing. I'm doing the Patreon this week. So if you guys want a little extra tea, a little scalding hot tea, stick around. Sign up for the Patreon. I'm doing it real cheap, like $1. If you guys can give Mama $1 a month, it would really, really be so helpful. There's enough of you where each of you, if you gave me $1 a month for the little extra hangout time, I could really make this podcast something special, and I really believe that we could do it together. So hang out if you can on the Patreon, and if not, I'll see you next week. Okay, love you, bye. Okay, you guys, hi. What's up, Artist Way besties? We're going to go a little quick through this week. It's week 2. We're only going quick because I have to get to the airport, and I don't want to miss my flight. If you're still hanging on, great. Can you guys comment or DM and let me know if you guys are enjoying this, if you're liking this, if you're still hanging on. It's week 2. This is where people start to bail. We start to decide, you know what, this is too hard. I don't like it. We have a lot of voices in our head, mostly the censor that comes in and is like, this is stupid. This is dumb. This is all not working for me. It's not worth it. So if you guys could comment, DM, let me know if you're still hanging on. I want to make sure that I'm doing this for someone and not just myself. Even if it is just for myself, I'll keep going, but I just want to see if any of you guys are hanging on. So week 2 is all about recovering a sense of identity. And And here's the thing, when you start going sane, it feels just like going crazy. Okay. So things are going to feel really uncomfortable. Your sort of inner child that's been squished down into a fucking well for so long is going to be like, it feels very scary up here. I've been in the dark for so long. I don't know if I want to come out. It feels spooky up here. So as we start to gain strength as creatives, just remember, so will our self-doubt. Those voices are going to get louder and louder, and they're going to tell you how stupid this work is and how unproductive it is and how it's just a waste of time and how you don't have time for it and, nothing really matters and this isn't going to work. So you're going to start to hear things being like, oh, this is just temporary. Okay, fine. I did the morning pages, but like, who cares? You know what I mean? So there's a lot of alignment that's going on, but there's also going to be a lot of voices telling you that's dumb. It's a waste of time. Just know that's all very normal, and keep going. So buying into those thoughts are going to keep you stuck, and we don't want to be stuck. Okay. So we can neutralize those once we recognize them as a creative virus. Affirmations are a powerful antidote for self-hate, which commonly appears under the mask of self-doubt. So that's really important. The self-doubt is self-hate, which is really hard to accept for a lot of us because a lot of us don't identify as self-loathing. I do. Obviously, you guys know that about me. I do. But a lot of us don't. A lot of us are in our minds that like, no, I'm good. I love myself. I love my life. Everything's good. So the self-doubt that's starting to perk up in the creative recovery, just know that is a form of self-hatred. And we just need to take care of our little baby inner artist and not expose it to too many outside threats. We don't need, our friends or family or relatives, anyone kind of getting in the way of our emotional recovery. Okay. And so the sense of safety and acceptance is the most important thing. And there's something that we go over in this chapter called poisonous playmates. Poisonous playmates are people that you surround yourself with that are sort of squelching out this inner artist that's trying to come out. So imagine it's like a groundhog. Remember that game Whack-A-Mole? Like you're just like one of the groundhogs popping out and like someone's going to be like pop and just fucking hit you in the head. Those are going to be people that like sitting on the bench and being skeptical. You guys, my brain's not working after yesterday. I was out in the sun for way too long. But yeah, they basically realize that here's the thing with creative recovery. Creative recovery is a lot like recovery from drugs and alcohol, where the people that you used to party with aren't going to want you to get sober, because what that does is that puts up a mirror for them to get sober and for them to realize they have a problem and to also realize that they could get well if they did a few simple things, but they're not willing to do that because they don't want that mirror shining on them. So when you start to creatively recover, the people around you that you felt safe with, like the people that you mocked bad actors on TV with, or the people that you went to a play and you're like, ugh, that was so cringe, or the people that you like, saw a piece of art out in the world and they're like, I could do that. And you're like, I could do that too. And you start to get well and you start to create and you start to be creative. Those people are not going to want to see you get well. Those people are going to want to keep you down. It's like crabs in a bucket, right? So just remember that. Also remember, creativity is blocked by our falling in with other people's plans for us. So a lot of our creativity throughout our lives has been blocked by us doing what our parents tell us to do. Doing what our partners want us to do rather than doing what our heart song wants us to do. So just make sure you follow that creative heart song, because that's going to be really important. And just remember, the great creator has gifted us with creativity. Our gift back is to use it. So you have to be an example through your own recovery. That's the only way that I've found works in both creative recovery and regular recovery. Like, you just have to show people you can do it. And listen, like my recovery is not perfect, whether it's drugs and alcohol or it's creativity. I struggled with my morning pages this week. I'll be honest. I did them, but I did like a page and a half instead of 3 pages. So like, I'm struggling on this journey with you guys. I don't want you to think that I'm doing it perfectly, but I'm doing my best. And just like, remember, when you're doing those morning pages, that is your time between you and God. So it's really important. It's really important to not prioritize getting coffee with your partner and, doing other things in the morning. Like, you need to have a little routine and build this into it, because it is like a direct channel between you and God. Okay. And your own healing is the greatest message of hope for anyone else. And this chapter is one of my favorite chapters because it talks about crazy makers. Crazy makers I have talked about before. I've had them in my life, throughout my life, for a long time. Some of my best friends have been crazy makers, like absolute crazy makers. And crazy makers, I've talked about this before, but those are the personalities that create storm centers. They are often charismatic, frequently charming, highly inventive, and powerfully persuasive. And for the creative person in the vicinity, they are enormously destructive. You know the type: charismatic but out of control, long on problems, and short on solutions. Crazy makers are the kind of people who can take over your whole life. To the fixer-uppers, they are irresistible. So much to change, so many distractions. So crazy makers in this is like, it's a fun word. But I think in real life, these are actually clinically unwell people. Like, these are people I've been so drawn to in my life, whether they're borderline or bipolar or whatever they are, because they're so unpredictable and they're so all over the place and they're so up and down. And it does breed a sort of addictive relationship. And then when you pour all of your energy into trying to predict what fucking mood we might get today, or trying to figure out where you fall in this person's good graces or bad graces today, that can take away all of the energy that you're supposed to be putting towards your creativity. So these people are excellent for us to stay blocked. But they're larger than life. They acquire that status by feeding on the life energies of those around them. So these are oftentimes famous people. In my circle, they're usually famous people. I can think of a few. But what I will say is, just because in my circle they're oftentimes famous people, that doesn't mean that I didn't have them when I was growing up. When I was growing up, my mom was the crazy maker of the house. And these people will hijack your time schedule. They discount your reality, no matter how important your deadline or how critical your work trajectory at the moment. Crazy makers will violate your needs. Crazy makers crazy makers triangulate those that they deal with. And what that means is pit people against each other. They create drama. They create chaos. Like, they are always the epicenter of the nuclear family. They are the nucleus of fucking insanity. Okay. They break deals. They destroy schedules. They expect special treatment. They're expert blamers. Nothing is ever their fault. It's always your fault. And they believe that in their head to be true. Whether or not they created a situation out of fucking dust, out of thin air, they will 100% have a fucking point list of why it's all your fault. They hate schedules. They create drama. They hate order. They deny that they're crazy makers. If crazy makers are that destructive, what are we doing involved with them? The answer, to be brief but brutal, is we are that crazy ourselves, and we are that self-destructive. So yes, as Black creatives, we are willing to go almost any lengths to remain blocked. As frightened and abusive as life with a crazy maker is, we find it far less threatening than the challenge of a creative life on our own. Using this fear as our excuse, we continue to allow others to abuse us. So you get into like this tortured tango with these people. And here's the thing, you can two-step right out of that bitch. So if you have a crazy maker in your life, start to Homer Simpson into a bush with them. Just start to walk backwards, because I promise you they will take every ounce of energy and every ounce of your lifeblood until you throw in the white towel. Okay? So skepticism is going to be the inner enemy. That's going to be the key thing that keeps us from ourselves. Like I said earlier, it's the self-doubt. It's the, but what if this doesn't work? It probably won't work. You have to be so talented to get ahead in this field. There's a 0.001% chance you make it in this field. It's that skepticism. It's often factually based fears that we've picked up along the way to keep us from sort of creating at the highest level, or any level at all. Okay, one of the things most worth noting in creative recovery is our reluctance to take seriously the possibility that the universe just might be cooperating with our new and expanded plans. We've gotten brave enough to try recovery, but we don't want the universe to really pay attention. We still feel too much like frauds to handle some success. When it comes, we want it to go. Okay, so here's the antithesis to this. Is going to be attention, paying attention to your life, paying attention to the beauty, paying attention to the details. Bad things can be happening to you, but the creativity is in the paying attention. And sometimes it takes an enormous amount of pain for us to pay attention. I don't know if you guys have ever noticed that when you have something horrifying happen to you, you remember every single detail of the day. Like when Biggie died, I remember where the moon was. I remember what it looked like. I remember how the moon was shining on the water. I remember the billboards that we were passing on the way to the ER. I remember everything. I remember his little eyes. I remember the blanket he was in. I remember everything about that. But oftentimes, if you want to not have something horrifying happen in order for us to pay attention, then you just have to pay attention. And one of the best ways to do that, I think, is when you're in your morning pages to look around and to be like, the beautiful lilies are blooming, the lizard found his son. You know, I think we used to pay a lot more detail to the life around us because we weren't so constantly distracted by social media. So if we can stay off our phones and just look at the life around us, pay attention, God is in the details. And just remember, all of this work is working through God. And I'm really proud of you guys for being on this journey. I did do an artist date this week. I got a paint by numbers and I did a little paint by numbers, and that was super fun. I'm sorry to rush through this. I just have to go. I have to get on a plane. But I love you so much, and I hope to see you on the Patreon, and I will talk to you in 5 minutes. Okay, bye.